Goedemorgen, nog net. We gaan verder met de track Strategy and Business. Strategie en zaken, het spoor strategie en zaken. Klinkt altijd minder hip dan track Strategy and Business. De volgende spreker is een bijzondere man, omdat het bedrijf wat ze hebben opgericht, Zappos, eigenlijk unaniem wordt gezien als de meest innovatieve webwinkel van het moment. Extreme klantvriendelijkheid met als meest bijzondere feit dat als je daar de training doorloopt van 8 weken, krijg je $2000 als je daarna weggaat. Maar als je blijft, krijg je hem niet. En daarmee proberen ze mensen binnen te halen die echt heel graag bij ze willen werken en niet dringend in geldnood zitten. Dames en heren, Brian Kalma van Zappos.
Okay, you're not free yet. Hold on. You ready? Smile.
I want to take my glasses off.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Well, this will be on Flickr later. Okay, everyone, if you could just say cheese for me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Perfect. So we'll put these on Flickr later, and possibly, if everyone go check it out and everyone tag it with their own name, we could probably have the most tagged photo on Flickr, maybe. Maybe not. It's about crowdsourcing, right? So let me just, okay, it works. A little bit about Zappos first. Actually, let me back up. I'm in another country. How many here have heard of Zappos by show of hands? Okay, considerably smaller than it is when I talk in the US, and probably even smaller it would be how many people have purchased? I know, we're going to talk about that. So one person that I saw, maybe a few more. Okay, so I promise we're a real website. We're a real company. You may not have heard of us. You may not have shopped with us, so I'll talk a little bit about it. We were founded back in 1999 when our founder, his name is Nick Swinburne, was trying to find a pair of Airwalks in a mall, and he couldn't find it. And he had this kind of glorious idea. It's like, wow, what if I could just start a website that sells shoes? So he did. And in case I jumped over that part, we fulfill millions of men and women's shoe fetishes by selling shoes on the web, as well as clothing and other stuff. So right now, we started in 1999, have 1,600 employees right now, basically split between Kentucky and Las Vegas. Kentucky is where our fulfillment center is. We really call ourselves Powered by Service. We don't really say we are an online shoe store because the goal of what we're trying to do is provide the best online, service experience. So we offer fast, free shipping, fast fulfillment. We carry about 1,200 different brands. All these brands are brands you would see and find in any retail store. We only have 6 private label brands, so we're a retailer. We're not necessarily a manufacturer. We warehouse everything. We have 4 million items currently, and we photograph every item we sell as well in-house. So we'll shoot about 12,000 photographs a day, taking shots of the items as soon as they hit the warehouse. So it's quite a process. That was actually the first thing I started doing at Zappos, is helping build that department back in the day. And we don't drop ship anything, and that's something that's important to us to control that service experience. There's some sites out there in the US that sell everything, but you can order from them and you can get a good price, but you don't know when you're going to get it, or even if they have it in stock. And that's something that we decided to not do in order to control that service experience. And by doing that, it allows us to build a bigger repeat customer base. So we call ourselves a service company that happens to sell shoes, clothing, handbags, and who knows, one day, anything and everything. So Zappos customer service, really, I'll give you a little bit of history about kind of the customer base and how we've grown to the level in which we have right now. Right now we have a total of 8 million purchasing customers, which is close to 3% of the U.S. population, and we have a high repeat customer rate. So at any given day, about 75% of total purchases are repeat customers, and really we find that to be something we're exceptionally proud of. It's a testament to the service level we provide and the commitment to service that we have given our customers, so they keep coming back. So if you look at the average order size, the more times we get a customer to come back to us, the more they're going to spend, the more comfortable they're going to be shopping with us, and the numbers are proving that for us. So here's a quick synopsis of the growth we've incurred over time. We started off basically in 1999, and we really didn't sell anything in 1999. At that time, we were drop shipping. We were selling out of Nick's apartment. in San Francisco, and it just didn't work. When a customer would place an order, like a little ding, a little bell would go off, and everyone would cheer. At that point, I was just friends with some of the folks at Zappos. I wasn't there, and they would then rush to the phone and call like New Balance and like, hey, someone just purchased something. You got to send it for us. And then like 3 weeks later, New Balance would send the product, and that wasn't scalable. Learned that very fast, and a couple of years later, decided to really make a commitment to the brand as soon as we started to sell stuff. And so as you can see, in 2002 is when we started warehousing, inventorying 100% of our product. And from there, we saw doubling growth year over year up until the past few years when we're approximately at a 33% growth rate. So this year, we're going to be selling about $1 billion in gross revenue. Almost 90% of it will be shoes. The rest will be clothing, handbags, and so forth and so on. But really, you know, like I was mentioning, our growth is coming from return customers, and that's something I'm going to be talking a lot about today, and that really the success of e-commerce is not necessarily about selling to the masses per se, but it's about retaining them. Anyone can sell a product for really cheap and get lots of customers, but I mean, yeah, you may want that sale, but you want the lifetime value of your customers to go up, and that's something that we'll talk a little bit more about here, and that's something we do pretty well at Zappos. I'm like pointing at the TV like that makes a difference. 3 big things that we've learned are necessary for good service online. Really, when someone comes to the website, you know, there's certain things they're going to want to see. Obviously, yeah, product. I want to come and buy shoes. That's the goal. But there's a lot of comfort indicators that we like to provide on the site. So as soon as you come to the site, there's certain things that we've committed ourselves to doing. And I hate to call them policies, but they sort of are. They're things you're always going to see messaged on our site for consumer confidence, and that is our 24/7 customer service messaging on every single page, clearly and prominently, as well as our 800 number. We want all of our customers to pick up the phone and call us. It's an important piece. It's a touch point. The more touch points we can create with our customers, the more evangelists we're going to be able to create, because we're going to be able to actually have thousands upon thousands of conversations with our customers. So really, that 1-800 number is important for us. We want people to call us. Lots of sites out there are doing everything in their power to either outsource their customer service or drive people to live chat. For us, it's like, yeah, sure, we want to give that live chat option, but we rather you pick up the phone, call us, talk to us, have a conversation, tell us what you're eating for dinner and what we can do to help you. We also will note our free shipping and free return shipping on every page. And what does that basically mean? In order for us to really kind of get over that hurdle of buying shoes online, something that you have to try on, we are offering the service of making sure that you get your product fast and free. You don't have to pay at all for the product to get to you. But if it doesn't fit, it's the same thing. You don't have to pay to send it back to us. So really, it's almost encouraging the first customer to send something back to us. If you buy something and it doesn't fit and you send it back, you'll realize how easy it is to send back. You'll evangelize us. And from there, we really have a large base of returning customers. So it's really all about that specific messaging on the site, encouraging people to do these things. And of course, we have a 365-day return policy with about 90% of all products being returned in 2 months. So it doesn't even really matter that we offer 1 year's worth of returns, but that type of comfort level, saying that will make people more at ease to make that purchase. So bearing in mind, it's a minimal expense for that extra 10% of people who actually use those extra 10 months of the year to return. It kind of makes itself up, 2-3-fold in those, in the consumer confidence indicators. So it's like I get out of this tendency of pointing at it here. I don't even know where the computer is, so I'm going to leave this here. I'm fidgeting. What customers experience. So first, you can come to the site and you can say all these things. You could say we're the best place in the world, right? Which I'm not saying we are, but you can say that. It doesn't mean anything until you actually experience it. So when, we'll say fast, free shipping, and it's true. With warehousing 100% of our product, which is one of the most important pieces of our business, we can guarantee that if you see it on site, you will get it. So we're at about 99.9% accuracy in our warehousing. With 4 million products, that's a pretty good number to have. So with the accuracy, with that comes accuracy. Really, another thing that we do, and it's a pretty popular thing for us, is that we will tell you you're going to get your item in 2 or 3 days for free. But what we do is we do surprise upgrades to free overnight shipping. So if you order before a cutoff time, I think the cutoff time it's 4 o'clock East Coast, 1 o'clock West Coast, you're going to actually get the product the next day. So you'll get an email saying, wow, we've decided to upgrade you to free overnight shipping, and you actually do get your product the next day. So what that does for us, too, it creates a lot of story-worthy experiences. We get people now who will write in and be like, oh, my God, I can't believe it. You guys actually, send me stuff so fast. I wish, your service is wonderful. I wish you guys, ran the IRS or ran an airline. Please, I wish everyone did it your way. So for us, it's kind of a planned experience. By warehousing, by making the certain commitments we do, we allow ourselves to control that customer experience. And that control is important to creating customer wow. We call it, helpful above and beyond customer service. I'll talk a little bit about this as we go along, but we have a commitment in our company, obviously, for customer service. But it's not just about the folks who are answering the phones. It's not just about the folks who are sending out the products in the warehouse. It's everyone. Everyone needs to be part of this mentality. So what we do is we put every single employee, all 1,600 of them, go through a 4-week customer service training course, no matter what department you're in, no matter what level you're in, anything. You go through the same 4-week training that our customer call center reps go through. So what that does for us is it really gets everyone behind that business model of service. It gets buy-in for our key marketing piece, which is customer service. And this last point is kind of interesting. When I actually was on the phones, I've been at Zappos, in 5.5 years full time, a little bit before that as a consultant, and I was surprised by something that I didn't even really know about that was so rampant, is that a large majority of the folks who actually call because they can't find a product on the site or we're out of stock. But we actually will then make sure that every customer service rep checks 3 to 5 other websites, and if they find the product the customer is looking for, we'll send them there. It doesn't matter, because the point of what we're trying to do is provide people with that service. And if they came to us to find something, hey, if we help them find it on another website, endless.com or Piperlime, which are 2 of our competitors, then so be it. At least we help that customer, and we'll take that immediate loss in that one sale, but we know we'll get those customers back, and we often do. Yummy. Okay, and then the third part of kind of what we learned about service is really what we do internally. We have absolutely no scripts or call times for our customer service reps. And that's because of something I was talking about earlier. We want every single employee who answers the phone to be an evangelist. We want those folks to be our media. So we invest time and money into training our employees, almost to the sense that the same amount of time and money people spend on their media plans for advertising, we spend that on our people. Because those folks are then going to be speaking to thousands and thousands of customers every day, having thousands of conversations per day. Multiply that by 365, that's a lot of personal conversations with your customers. So without forcing people off the phone, we create emotional connections. We get more story-worthy experiences as a result. And there's no sale-based performance. I mean, I spent an hour on the phone with one customer trying to help her find black pumps, which I absolutely know nothing about. But I went, and all I was there to do was say, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. But she wanted me on the phone to, I guess, have someone to talk to while she was shopping. And she didn't buy anything. But what we did is we get that person now who is going to feel more comfortable to come back to us. Another piece of what we actually do to make sure the service model works is we run the warehouse 24 hours a day. So it's pretty much open all the time. You order a product that's going to be on a truck and on the UPS plane within hours. So it really is important. So what we've done is we've centrally located our warehouse several miles from the UPS headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky. So if you ever happen to make your way to Louisville, Kentucky, let me know. My email address, I'll put it up at the end, and we'll get you a tour of the warehouse to see how that operates. It's quite an experience, actually. Well, again, at the end, I'll tell you a little bit more about the contact information if you actually do want to do that. It's quite an impressive experience. I mentioned a little bit about the culture, the customer service training. We also, what we do is we put a big emphasis on our core values, which kind of relates to our customer service. So for this, for the sake of instilling, more customer service mentality, we not only put people through those trainings, but we also go through core value training. So if you interview, for example, at Zappos, you're going to meet with everyone. If you're interviewing for marketing, you're going to meet with the marketing department. You're going to go through your normal interviews. But the other 50% of the folks you're going to meet are going to be people who are interviewing you for a core value fit, to see that if you actually fit the company culture. And by fitting the company culture and by putting a lot of emphasis on that core value interviewing, We're going to ensure that that service message doesn't get lost as we hire and hire as we grow. I'm going to skip this one. It's a little hard to read. Okay, so here's an interesting story. Everyone knows what this is, right? It's a huge, huge wallet. Actually, it's a little tiny one. But really, what happened was we had a customer buy a wallet. This is the wallet she bought. Decided after a few days that it wasn't her. She didn't like it, and she sent it back. But what she didn't realize is that she sent it back with $150 in it. And so she's, running around her house looking for $150, blaming her kids. Hey, you guys stole my money. The kids are, getting grounded now, not fessing up to their mother that they didn't steal this money. But then a week later, an envelope comes in the mail back to her from a warehouse employee at Zappos with $150 cash, and it basically says, hey, I thought you may want this back. And the reason I tell this story is because we have essentially a warehouse worker making minimum wage, I think it's like $7 an hour, who very easily could have taken this cash and just put it in their pocket and moved on their merry way. But, this story is relevant because it's stories like this that happen many times a day that prove the fact that, the customer service mentality isn't just those folks on the phone. It spans everywhere within the company. So by having a warehouse worker who's just packing products be able to wow a customer this way, helps us build that repeat customer base. So that leads me to the next topic of really 4 things you need to do to build a brand that matters, and it probably should say online. So really, it's about vision. In 1999 when the company was started, it was kind of, shunned upon. Like, how can you sell shoes online? You can't try the product on. It doesn't make sense. But there was a vision. The vision at that time, started off with shoes, but it really was bigger. It was about making people smile, make people happy, giving meaning to an online experience. It's not just about the dollar. It's about, making a difference in people's lives. So really, for us, it was about making sure that vision was something attainable. It was a committable vision, and that vision was creating the best online service experience possible. Silly little swirly thing, sorry. Repeat customers. Build repeat customers. So great product, great service, or low prices. Pick 2 of the 3 and focus on them. You can't be all things to all people. If you're going to compete on price, it's a challenging thing to compete on price and compete on service and build in your perfect selection. Because really for us, what we've learned is that very, very price sensitive shoppers aren't loyal shoppers. They're going to go where the next discount comes. And for us, the more repeat customers we get, the more profitable we are as well. So really for us, we decided to focus on 2, and that it's great product and great service. Let the Amazons and those other companies that sell massive amount of product focus on price, because they're going to have lots of one-time shoppers as, kind of coming and going as they have the next greatest discount. And I'm having trouble with this thing. I still like to point it at this thing. It's kind of weird. Here's a couple of stats talking a little bit about how our repeat customer business has grown over the years. And as you can see, really, it's slowed down a little bit, but from 01 to basically last year, the average number of orders per year has grown dramatically. 1.5 to 2.6, I guess, is not necessarily huge as a numbers point of view, but when you multiply that by the millions amount of customers that we have, those add up. And what we do is we take basically that profit and we're just continually reinvesting it back in the people to improve that service experience so we could expand our product line eventually. Transparency. Be real and you have nothing to fear. For us, I guess we bring this up because, with 1,200 vendors, we have basically 1,200 more pair of eyeballs that could actually help us run our business better. So, why would we want to hide our numbers, our processes, our procedures from the brands like Skechers or Nikes and Pumas and stuff like that? When really what these folks want to do, they want to grow their brands on our site as well. So let's let them give them the keys to their business on our site. That's that many less people we have to hire. That's more people looking at our business and caring for it. So really, we don't hide anything. We'll tell you pretty much anything anyone wants to know about our business. And culture. This is something that takes a while for the public to actually see and understand, But for us, we've built a core value structure and a culture within the company that that really fosters evangelists. So we have people in the company, who are, not only massive evangelists for us, but essentially become loyalists to the company and are basically promoters for us because of our core values. So you see these kind of three silly little pictures up there, and they're what we call our culture books. So every year we have every single employee submit a few paragraphs. We ask every employee to submit a few paragraphs and say, what does it mean to you to work at Zappos? And then we publish it. We publish every single one, the good and the bad. It's only filtered for profanity or spelling errors. Hopefully no one uses profanity, but sometimes they do. And this book is something that we'll give out to anyone. So we send every single vendor we have, every single employee gets this book, and you could read what it means, for every person that worked there. So it's something I'm going to offer at the end of this as well. I'll give you guys my email address, and if you want this book, I'll be happy to send it to you at no charge. But really, what it does, it kind of gives you an inside view into what it's like, to work there, and what it's like to work there is the reason why we can be successful. So here, there's a quick snapshot of what we call our core values, and it's not just like a plaque you can put on the wall, but really it's a committable system. It's in everything you do. It's, what we try to do is, basically by saying deliver wow through service, sure, we can have those policies that I mentioned, and that's only so much, but remember that woman I told you about who got her $150 back? That's basically because of that core value system that we've built and fostered within our company, that something like that can happen. Here's another kind of little interesting story, is that the pizza. There was a whole bunch of us out with the Skechers reps in Los Angeles. This was years ago, and it was pretty late. Lots of drinking happening, so everyone comes back. I think it was like 2 in the morning, pretty wasted. And they're looking to get some food, and the hotel food, hotel place stopped serving food that late. So I forgot who it was. Joked around. I think it was Tony. Joked around and said, "Why don't we call Zappos and see if they'll find pizza for us?" So the Skechers rep picks up the phone, puts it on speaker. Someone picks up the phone, thank you for calling Zappos. And they say, okay, I'm really hungry. It's 2 in the morning and I want some pizza. Can you help me? And this customer service rep was kind of like, okay, sure. And put them on hold and searched, I think it was, probably Googled, and found 5 open pizza places that deliver at that time, and got back in the line and gave the Skechers folks the phone number of the 5 places that delivered. And, why? I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, I definitely don't want everyone here to start calling us for pizza orders, especially out here, because it would be kind of weird. But really, what that kind of does for us is, stories like this, occurrences like this that continue to happen, help foster and promote positiveness within the company, but also, creates buzzworthy events outside. So really, the customer service, the core values, and all this sort of stuff really allow us to create more touch points with our customers. And that's really the biggest thing I could say. I mean, this conference is about crowdsourcing. But for us, we don't necessarily call it that per se, but we basically look at that as kind of word of mouth, crowdsourcing, whatever you want to call it, as a byproduct of the type of service that we perform. I wish I had these videos, but if you want to jot down these URLs, these are kind of pretty cool to look at, is that really the one thing I could say is that you should never be afraid to talk with your customers. One of our biggest, service goals is to create as many touch points as possible. I've said this several times so far. So what we do is we have these internal blogs that are really external blogs that, we basically give the keys to almost everyone in the company, say, just be smart. Go ahead, have at it, blog. And we allow, all the departments are writing, let's say the fashion buying department's writing about what they're all wearing today, or we're creating silly little skits, and we're letting the outside, world see what we're doing in the inside. And the point? Well, the point is to make it more clear that, hey, listen, we're real. We're people just like you. We have fun. We goof around. We goof off. Maybe you'll find yourself similar to us. Hey, check out the blog. So it's a tool that we use to create more touch points with the customers. Zappos.tv is something we've launched recently as well, and it's about, this is purely just fun. There's really nothing on there that's terribly relevant to the product we're selling, But really what we do there is we just create a bunch of funny skits and try to make our customers laugh. So on that right now, it's not terribly huge. We'll get maybe 1,500 to 2,000 views a day. And mind you, this has absolutely nothing to do with our product. Our products that we sell, rather, has to do with the Zappos brand product and making people smile. Another thing that we're highly active on is Twitter. I believe it's pretty much a buzz here as well. What we've done, though, recently is try to leverage what Twitter's doing and their APIs and allow us to take advantage of that from an SEO point of view as well. So what I basically mean by that is we created a subsite called twitter.zappos.com. We use their open API and said anytime anyone in the world mentions the word Zappos on Twitter, their tweet's going to show up on twitter.zappos.com and link back to our site. And we also offer that for every single one of our brands. So if someone is tweeting about Nike, it's going to show on twitter.zappos.com, and that word Nike in that person's tweet is going to link back to Zappos. It's something that came out of a cab ride in New York between Tony and I. Were joking and trying to figure out a way to get more visibility through Twitter. Well, this is something we tried, and it's actually had a lot of success. It's been picked up in press as well. So I would encourage you to check that one out as well. And another thing that we're using, I mean, these are kind of popular things. Everyone knows about Facebook as well. But we're using these media to not just put up a Facebook page and say, see you later, but we're actually creating another avenue to talk to our customers. So we're going currently through a site redesign. You can check it out. It's called zeta.zappos.com. And we're using Facebook and all of our fans there to elicit feedback for the site. So we're talking to them daily. What do you like? What don't you like? And using them as essentially usability subjects. And, because they want to participate. So right now the fan base on Facebook is not terribly huge, but the engagement is huge. And with 3,400 I think is the total number of fans, not a huge number, but when we're having about hundreds of conversations with them a day on Facebook, which is not even on our site, we're giving people more opportunities to talk and interact with our brand. But it's about being real. I mean, it's not just me or someone else, in marketing talking to the folks on Facebook. It's every single one of our employees who have an active interest in participating in there. So what we have learned, this essentially is just kind of recaps the 10 things we've learned while building an online business. I initially was going to have this presentation talk specifically about these whole 10 things, but as I really started thinking about it, I thought this was a better way to end it, because you can easily look at a list and say, okay, I got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things. Well, it's not really about doing those 10 things. It's about truly believing that you need to do those 10 things. And for us, it's not like we decided these are the 10 things we have to do, so now let's do them. We actually turned around and realized, wow, we just figured out and broke the mold of what you're supposed to do online to make a business successful our way and for us. So I can go into Q&A in a minute, but I just wanted to also just throw this up there. If anyone does want to contact me, I'd be happy to get you this presentation, answer any additional questions you want to know. I can get you a copy of the culture book. Just give me your address. I don't think we'll overnight it, though. Sorry. And you can return it if you want, or you could use it to start a fire. I don't know, if you don't like it. But also you could follow me on Twitter, because I like using it. And I just tweeted right before I came out here, so maybe you'll find something useful in there. But really, that's a very quick snapshot of our business. I can go on forever, and I'll spare you that. But if you do have any questions, I'd be happy to take them now or whenever you want.
We hebben nu... I'm switching.
Or we can talk.
No, we have actually 2 ladies in the audience. We've got one downstairs over on the left, and we have... The thing is that we can't see into the audience from here, not even if I would have laser vision.
No.
So
I have laser vision. It's overrated.
I can tell. Yeah. Can you see? Is anybody with a question for Brian in the audience? Because I got a whole bunch. If you do have a question, please raise your hand, and our nymph with the microphone will come to you.
I take no offense. There's no questions anyway. So.
Oh, that's good. That's easy then, and I can shoot.
Oh, we have one.
Oh, we have one. Over. Why do you always... The question is always from the front when the girl with the microphone is all the way in the back. This always happens.
When are we going to ship outside?
Your question is when you're going to ship outside the U.S. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, are there any Canadians in the audience? I don't want to offend any Canadians. We technically ship outside the U.S.
What are the odds?
Yeah, right. No, we are actually right now toying with the idea of that. So we're going to be experimenting soon with shipping outside the U.S. and we'll do that before we open any actual locations out here. But I think it's a long-term goal for the growth of our company. It's going to be important to be in Europe and in the rest of the world. So I would say that with the next few months, you may see us be able to start testing some shipments out here. So if you want to talk more about that or be a test subject, drop me a line, for real. For us, the biggest hurdle with coming out here or anywhere else in Europe is that we don't understand the audience. I mean, we take a lot of influence in our buying from what's happening in Europe. So to come here and say we just apply the same model is not necessarily the smartest thing for us. So we have a lot of experimenting to do.
I thought if you sell shoes in the US and you're customer friendly, that would work here as well. It will be a completely new experience for any Dutch customers.
Yeah, well, I'd hope so. I think we don't understand that market. I mean, I understand. I would imagine some people here have been to the United States, right? And you probably had a poor service experience somewhere. I mean, president, but there's many poor service experiences, and I think for us, it became evident that this was something that would stand out in the United States, and I don't know that we have a clear understanding that this is something that would stand out.
So maybe Dutch people, we're the cheapest people on the planet. We probably you want to mix in those 2 out of 3 and go for price.
Well, I don't know. I've been kind of wowed by the friendliness I've endured here, and it's it just seems that it's a friendlier culture. We may have to raise the bar a little bit if we came out here.
You still have to do the speech. Watch when you're done.
Yeah.
Now, my first question was that you're pointing at other customers. I mean, does that happen often? So when people say, I'm looking for this pair of black pumps, like you had that lady on the phone, yeah. You say, well, our with your shoe, whatever, your foot, your feet probably better suited to go to one of our competitors' sites. Does it happen often? Or?
Yeah, it does. It's not like we want to do it per se. We do it when we can't fulfill the order ourselves. We don't carry everything, though we carry most things. So when that happens, we literally will check 3 to 5 other sites, and we won't make the purchase for them, but we'll basically direct them to site X and tell them you can buy it there. So I would say, if I had to guess, I mean, it definitely happens every day, probably upwards in the 20 to 30 times a day, I'd imagine.
Wow.
If I had to guess.
From the margins thing, you guys probably for shoes, you're not the cheapest place.
Definitely not the cheapest.
You're not the cheapest place. No. So this thing, where your customer service guy is helping these people find pizzas at 2 a.m., that's fine. But if you're in a low margin business, let's say an average call rep over here goes at around 35, 40 euro. It's going to set you back per hour. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you that one right there if you set up your call center here. So if, let's say I used to run an internet business, an ISP. That would be our margin for the entire year. Your guy, my customer service guy, giving the pizza number out, that would be, I'm losing money on that customer. And that's not even a paying customer. That's just some bozo from Skechers trying to get a cheap pizza.
Yeah, well, I think...
Does it only work if you have high margins?
I don't think it only works if you're high margin. I think it makes it a little easier if you're high margin. But, for us, we invest all the profit we make, the margin dollars right back into the service experience. So as we make more money, it's not like that's going straight to the bottom line and we're making more profit each year. I mean, we are, but we take that money and we put it back and try to provide more service experience. So the type of service we give now is not the same thing we did 4 or 5 years ago. It gets better as we go along. But once we had enough money, for example, we were able to start doing overnight shipping. When we didn't have enough money, we had to work in other ways to get, that service experience higher. So, it really comes back down to figuring out that sweet spot, understanding how to operate, efficiently and effectively so you can reinvest that money. It's hard to exactly answer it, but it's possible. And
in diversification, you said it's a shoe company, but you're shipping back the wallet, so you're selling...
Yeah, oh yeah.
How broad is that product base that you have?
Shoes right now is 90% of the business. Clothing is just shy of 5%, and the other 5% is...
You're not going to do books or CDs, I think, anytime soon.
We sell... Okay, well... Yes and no. We actually do sell about 30 or so books, but those are well selected. We have a library in our lobby, which is a library of 30 or 40 books or so that we promote within the company that we try to get every single employee to read. And those are books that we also offer on our site to show the customers this is what we do to train our employees. So we do sell 20 to 30 books a day, but it's probably not
to your own employees.
No, we give them to our employees, but we do sell to some customers.
And wrapping up, in summary, I looked at the numbers. Your revenues are amazing. I mean, we're all people around me were going $1 billion. I don't think we have many companies in Holland on the internet that are doing $1 billion, $1 million.
Billion's nice.
I'm thinking, I'm not any of mine, but the growth is slowing down as far as I know. So your top line revenues are slowing.
Yep.
And as an investor, that would, that's just one thing I look at. Are we at the peak, or are we? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, 90%. Like I was saying, 90% of our products are still shoes. So in order to keep that growth going, we decided to figure out what other products we could extend that service model to. So the clothing industry, for example, in the U.S. is 4 times the size of that of shoes. So right now we operate about 33% of all online shoe purchases in the U.S. come through Zappos. If we can get 33% of all clothing purchases online to happen at Zappos, that number goes up fourfold, so, or even more. So for us, the growth as we see it slowing basically means A, we need to operate a little bit more efficiently so the profit numbers don't slow, and B, we need to figure out what other product lines are worth or can be looped into this service model.
And the company is still private, privately held, and
yeah.
I mean, so Amazon's going to snap you guys up anytime because they need margins. You guys have margins, right?
Well, we're trying to not go with Amazon.
That would raise the price anytime you answer that question.
Yeah. No, wow.
Yes or no?
No.
You're never for sale unless.
No, I don't think there'll be any selling happening. But
well, you definitely not. There's no IPO plan. Then let me know with this market.
No, definitely not, especially after Monday, which I was on a plane during Monday's fiasco. So, but no, we're not looking to sell. We're looking actually just to continue growing. We're going to fall a little shy of our actual initial plans for this year, but we're still going to grow at a 23-24% rate, and for next year we're planning a little bit higher as well, as we're going to grow that clothing category next year. So we hope if next year clothing can be 10% of the business, that brings that growth rate even to 2-3 years ago levels. So yes, it is slowing. Admit it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Brian Kalma.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nou, dan is het nu na de pauze is het een sessie van 3 kwartier en dan hebben we nu lunch 1 uur. Ja, dat is hoe het schema in elkaar zit. Jullie horen vanzelf, dan gaat er een soort gong af en dan hoor je Nina, mijn lieftallige collega. Zie je volgens mij ook op de narrowcasting schermen. En die zal aankondigen wanneer de lunch over is. Maar dan is het nu lunch. Bedankt. Oh, ik vergat 1 ding. Er is een stand van Rhinofly waarop je kan stemmen. Stand 29. Waarop je kan stemmen op allerlei stellingen van de dag. En allerlei stellingen die ze hebben over crowdsourcing en open innovation.